Hello, hello. Absolutely beautiful day here in the UK. Up in the Midlands, the very sunny Midlands at the moment. Not a cloud, not a streak, just vivid blue sky. It's wonderful. Very, very hot, but it's actually quite a nice dry heat, which is my favourite. I hope you're doing well, everyone. It's actually a bit too warm to be standing out there for too long without some shade, but I just wanted to show you something that came through the door a few days ago now. Let's just spin that round. So here we have, I don't know if you can read that, there's a lot of glare on here. So, you know, the usual. It's interesting actually that they're pushing the first and second doses along with the booster, so they're still trying to get people to have that done. But what I found the most interesting was on the other side. Look at this, myths and facts. So this is produced by the City of Wolverhampton Council, and it's the NHS COVID-19 V service. And here, look at this. Myths and facts. Now, I'm not going to go through all of them. I think you can see there. Look, isn't this interesting? So, clearly, people are not having the boosters. We knew that already, but I think this really smacks of desperation. And I mean, you've got things like, yeah, the V cannot give you COVID-19, and you know the V's have gone through clinical trials and safety checks. This is, look, you know, the myth that it's not safe. It went through the approval process too quickly, which is 100% true and has been proved. It's not even a question. You know, these out and out lies. I mean, the people who came up with this, most side effects of the COVID-19 V are mild and should not last longer than a week. And so it's an out and out denial. But notice that the language is quite clever here, because actually, yeah, probably most side effects are mild, but the ones that aren't, yeah, it's staggering, isn't it? So they're not, it's just, it's very, it's really easy to be really, really pissed off. Like when this came through the door, I was, and wish I'd seen the person that posted it so I could have gone after them and had a few words. But actually, I think it's just an indicator, isn't it? That for a start, everything that we've been saying, from the word go, pretty much has penetrated. It's been getting through. It's got out there, and people have been taking notice, because we're getting things like this now, desperately trying to deny and control what's happening. Like I said, we know that people aren't getting the boosters. They've seen that, you know, at the very least, what is the bloody point? Because you know, if it's not going to stop you getting something, not going to stop you passing it on, and so on and so forth, then, you know, that's quite enough on its own. But the fact that they're addressing all of these so-called myths, I mean, it's staggering, really. The V myth, this is a so-called myth, the V can affect pregnancy and cause infertility. There is no evidence, this is the fact apparently, there is no evidence to suggest that COVID-19 Vs will affect fertility or pregnancy. I mean, whoever's put this together is going to have to answer. They are going to have to answer to what they're doing here. The V will not change your DNA. It instructs your body to develop an immune system response, which we already know as an absolute fact. doesn't work. There is no effective immune system response. I mean, there's no point in going into all of this because it will be here forever, and it's staggering to me, the lies that will have to be answered to. But yeah, I think this is actually a good sign that they've felt it to that degree that they're actually producing things like, you know, like we've had the UN producing their documents and having a whole big conference about, you know, there is no global elite controlling things, says the global elite. You know, it just smacks of desperation. I think we should actually be taking heart from this, that there is a lot of desperation now. And as I've said many times before, you know, lies like this, they cannot sustain themselves. They're so huge, so vast. You think about the energy it takes to keep something like this going on every level. It's quite mind-boggling. Whereas the truth just stands. It needs no defending. It needs, as in from a defensive position, it needs no propping up. It doesn't take energy, it just is. It doesn't need manipulating or amending or backtracking on. It doesn't need disguising. It doesn't need hiding. It doesn't need anything other than what it is. So all of the energy being expended is on that side, and that's what will be the undoing, is the moment they think they can relax is when that hubris sets in, and that's when we see them tripping up and making the huge boo-boos, and exposing themselves for what they are, because they can't actually relax and think, okay, we've got this. It's constant. And yeah, it can't sustain itself. It's got nothing in the face of truth. So things like this, you know, it's a desperate response. So what we've been saying and what we've been sharing and spreading and putting out there, it's got through, and they've seen, oh, people are actually waking up and listening. They are understanding this. So yeah, it's just everything's upside down, really, isn't it? You've got lies being spread, purported to be truth, and you're a lunatic if you think otherwise. We've got, you know, it's a beautiful day outside, like as you've just seen. The sun, which gives us life, which the whole world, you know, natural world is absolutely dependent on. The whole planet, realm, whatever you want to call this. People have different ideas. We're dependent on the sun, but be afraid, be very, very afraid. We're having the whole, it's coming out again, the whole deadly heat wave and so on, because we've got a week of beautiful weather, and it's, you know, it's maybe 30 up to 32. It's gorgeous, which is a lot of countries see all the time, right? But you know, it's this constant perpetuating of the opposite. So, you know, that the whole environmental, shall we say, movement, which is the next big thing, which is absolutely integral to the pushing of the agenda, the ultimate agenda, is carbon bad, and the inversion is complete there, because we're carbon-based creatures. Life is carbon-based. You know, carbon dioxide is the gas of life. It's called it. It's so obvious what they're doing once you know. This complete inversion of everything. So anything life-giving, anything good, anything natural is demonized, and we are told it's, you know, to turn against it and it must be stopped, and it's really just anti-human. That's what this whole thing is, this hatred of human beings, of life, really. And yeah, anything good, like the healing ourselves, health, is anything alternative and natural, things that have been used for thousands of years, is labelled as quackery. It's unsafe. Anything independent, anything that we can do ourselves, anything empowering, anything that gives us any kind of independence and sovereignty and integrity and belief in ourselves, trust in our own innate abilities and power, is under attack. No, we must have these systems where we're completely dependent, and Big Brother will take care of you. And yeah, it's interesting to watch it, and the more you know, it becomes more and more obvious, more and more blatant. So that's really the thing to look at, is anything that they're pushing, anything that's being sold to you as right, good, virtuous, especially virtuous, run in the opposite direction. And then you've got quite a good gauge for things, quite a good guide, I would say. So yeah, that's it from me. Let me know if anyone else has had anything similar to this, because I've this leaflet, because I found it really interesting that they're directly addressing the myths, you know, that we've seen barely anything in obviously mainstream media. There's a few things coming out, but you know, on the whole, it's really only been the alternative that's been discussing any of this. So it's quite interesting to see that it's, you know, this is mainstream. This NHS pamphlet. So yeah, let me know if you've had anything similar, because I do think it's very telling indeed. And those that are putting out these so-called facts, I would not want to be in their shoes when all this comes crashing down. I really wouldn't. One last thing I would say is to be very wary of, obviously governments are completely corrupt. They are not there to serve us. I don't know that they were ever created to do so. Maybe right in the very beginning, because you have to have something wonderful in order for people to go along with it, and then it's intentionally degraded. So I'm sure you know, a long time ago, the corruption was nowhere near as it is now. But you know, we're seeing the governments will fall, and we have to be very mindful of what we're stepping into, because that they do want this to happen in order for the NWO, whatever it is you want to call it, the global technocracy, that one world government, or whatever it is they would term it, the governments have to kind of come crashing down in order for them to step in with their new shiny alternative, which is obviously the very furthest thing from what we want. So I think, yeah, this is why I'm constantly talking about creating those alternatives, so we don't need anything that they have to offer. We know that this is coming to an end, the way things have been run for a long time, but they will always have it, their plan, you know, to sneak in with the only answer to save us all. And so I think we have to kind of bear in mind when all these things are happening, and governments and leaders that are thrown under the bus, they're exposed. There's a double-edged sword with it all. So yeah, definitely keep the focus on creating what we want and what we need for ourselves. And there's absolutely we don't have to pay any attention to what they're offering them, because we'll have it all, and we will. We've got incredible people on our side, very inventive, very creative, very compassionate. We've got everything we need, so buckle up. We're in for a very rocky ride, but at the end of it, you know, we're going to have something absolutely incredible that we all deserve. We've always had the right to, but you know, we've got to get rid of this old system first, and that can be a few shock waves. But yeah, my battery's about to go. Have a wonderful rest of the day or evening, wherever it is you are. Sending you lots of love, and I'll speak to you soon. Peace.